What were we gonna call this?
Oh yeah, we didn't even decide that, did we? We'll do that thing where we say, welcome to the first episode of this thing that doesn't have a name yet, but does by the time that you guys see it.
This is the Hodge Pod!
All right, perfect. You don't need to take that again. We'll just go from there.
Uh,
Exactly what you wanted. Yep.
Yep, there we go.
No takesies, backsies.
No takes backs. I'm Dorian.
I'm Will.
We're gonna talk about the Batman, the new Batman film that came out March 4th, 2022, I think.
Yep, the Batman 2022, starring Robert Pattinson.
I don't think you have to say the year after it. There is only one The Batman movie.
Well, maybe I could be referring to the other best Batman movie, Batman and Robin.
Period.
I don't know. The best is a strong word.
Yeah, it's bat credit cards and bat skates,
Bat
And-
nipples.
bat nipples, cool puns.
Mm,
The Ice Age.
what killed the dinosaurs?
The Ice Age. And then he freezes, get it? Because he's Mr. Freeze.
Comedy gold. Just like this movie.
I wouldn't say this movie's comical.
It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny when it wants to be.
What is funny about this movie?
Thumb drive? Come on. That's
I-
hilarious. You can't say I'm wrong.
No, that was pretty funny. Got a little chuckle out of me in the theaters.
I will say I think that's what they nailed is like the humor. I guess at least in comparison to like the 90s show, the way they set up the humor was all very, very dry and kind of dark. There wasn't like a lot of laughs to take you out of it, but like some characters would just like say things here and there. I was like, that's just hilarious.
In this world of like murder and crime, and it's always raining. They're like,
It was always raining, wasn't it?
It literally was. If it wasn't raining, it looks like it just got done raining.
It did. It's like raining every night. Any nighttime scene, I swear to God, there was rain. And most of the movie is a nighttime scene, so
Yeah, no. I mean, it was nice to get some like sun every now and then, but it was either like dusk or dawn.
yeah, it was like sunset. It's about to be night anyway, so who gives a shit?
Or like the sun's just rising, and then like Bruce fucking E-boy Bruce Wayne is
E-boy
crawling back to
Bruce.
his cave.
Yes. But before we just start running off on tangents, we have a set thing here, a list of things to go down, so we're not all convoluted like that sentence I just said. Anyway, so first up, let's talk about the opening of the movie. Normally it should just be the plot, but I just feel like the opening was so good that I gotta say something about it. And not like the initial opening, I guess. Not the one with the Riddler.
So that is a nice setup, and I have some comments on that.
It does set up the story. But I'm talking about the Batman.
The thing I wish didn't happen, but I'm glad that it was actually done in a good way, was the narration.
Yeah, you told me, you asked me about that before,
Yeah.
and you're like, you think it's gonna have a narration like every other fucking movie.
Yeah, like every other Batman movie is like opening, death parents, narration.
To be
I'm the
fair,
crushed child.
if you read any Batman comic, that's also how they all start.
Oh, yeah.
My name's Bruce Wayne. My parents were killed in an alleyway. Now I fight for vengeance. And he's like kind of narrating the whole time.
My parents were killed in Crime Alley, to be specific.
Yeah. They named it after the crime happened. I don't know what the fuck it was before. It was just Alley. I'm like, what the fuck do we name this one? Well, Bruce Wayne's parents just got shot yesterday there. Crime Alley? Crime Alley.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
I can't imagine the town board meeting for that one.
Imagine how like distraught young Bruce Wayne is.
And they didn't even name it like Wayne Alley.
No, it was just like Crime Alley.
They didn't say Martha or Thomas Alley.
Crime Alley.
Crime Alley. And the only thing that matters is that crime happened in that alley.
So,
Real disrespectful. But the opening with Batman doing the most Batman thing I think ever seen in film.
Yes, for one, narrating, but not narrating about his parents' death, mind you, because this movie foregoes the cliche of showing Bruce Wayne's parents dying and then.
They do not show it, but damn if it isn't in every fucking scene, the reverberations of it, which I guess is fine because that's the point.
Yeah, it's like a mirror because it's like, oh look, this kid's parents were murdered, but
yeah. He looks at a kid and like Nero fucking breaks down.
Yeah,
like,
he looks at him and then they're like, dude, you gotta go.
Like, we get it. You were that boy. Please move on.
Okay, I feel like we're getting too convoluted now.
We are. Okay, opening. I'll focus.
Batman basically is talking. He's writing a journal. He's closing up a file starting year 2, which is telling us this is not his first night out. And he's basically just, I guess, talking to himself because he's kind of a psychopath about
all
how
superheroes do it.
Yeah, he's just he's like, hey, I can't be everywhere at once. Crime and drugs are still out on the streets, and they fear me.
Yeah,
and cut
fear
to, like,
can be everywhere at once.
Well, exactly. I can't, but fear can. And cut to like a montage of a bunch of criminals doing stuff, and then looking up to the sky to see the signal, and then looking deeply into the shadows.
Yeah, they're like, ah, shit, he's about to show up. Fuck. Which is actually.
Waiting.
It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I guess if you don't know what that symbol is for, you don't know. But like as soon as I see that symbol, I'm like pretty sure Batman's talking to Jim Gordon and not worried about us, you know?
Yeah, but we find out afterward he came later, not immediately.
That's true. He might have just been he was out in the streets for a while.
Because what does happen is all these people obviously know who Batman is, or at least the legend of him. And then he attacks the group of criminals who just happen to not know or think this guy's bluffing.
Yeah. Except for the one kid who is the smartest person in the movie.
The kid, he's like, he steps back to surround himself with meat shields when the Batman shows up, because you hear his footsteps for one, and this man has like straight platform boots.
Oh yeah, I gotta say, I was gonna save it for later, but like the sound direction in this movie is amazing.
Oh yeah, you just hear thump.
But it's so quiet at first that you're like, am I hearing footsteps? Like every other criminal would think, looking into the out. It's like, is there just something creaking, or is that like a cadence?
No,
and then like you kind of see like the whites of his eyes and like his hand come out of the shadows, and you're like, fuck. That kid also saw the bat symbol, and he was like, ah shit, I don't wanna. I'm a little scared. And then he showed up, and he was like, hey guys, maybe we don't fight this guy. He doesn't seem like a cool dude.
No, but everyone else is like, hey, who is this guy? Steps up, gets knocked into like oblivion. Cool fight scene to start off. I'm like, all right, this is Batman. He's
doing the Batman thing.
He's doing the Batman thing, breaking bones. He gets hit a couple times, to be fair. Like,
were those kids just like messing with the other dude for like no reason, just because he like heard their conversation?
It was like from what I got, it was like a knockout game, because they were showing the kid with the half white, like he had the half white painted face.
Yeah.
And I think this was his initiation to join their gang.
Okay.
So the second that guy got up and he was the only one leaving, they're like, hey, let's go jump this guy and then we can get this over with.
That makes sense. Because that guy was just like listening to them.
Question.
Yes.
Were either of you waiting for one of them to be like, it's the bat?
The whole movie. It's the bat! That's the only thing people say. It's
Batman.
Like when Spider-Man
It's the
lands,
bat! Get him!
When Spider-Man lands anywhere and they're like, Spider-Man!
It's the wall crawler.
The webhead.
Yeah, but no, they don't say that. They say, who's this guy? This dude gets punched into the ground, and for good measure, this Batman decides to lay 2 more good ones while his head's in the concrete, and he's like brooding, and he says, I'm vengeance.
It's the scene that was in the trailer that kind of made everyone go like, oh, fuck. Like everyone stopped and they're like, this Batman's not fucking around.
Yeah.
Which was nice because Ben Affleck's Batman was also not fucking around, and I was hoping that they kept that same like intensity.
Yeah, it very much is like the same energy. The difference being that Ben Affleck was
He's like huge.
Yeah, he's for one huge. And if you see that guy walking to you, you're like, no, thank you.
I don't know. If I saw like a dude in like full army gear, like walking out of the shadows and just like staring into my soul, that's not a guy I'd want to fuck with.
No.
I don't know why they picked a fight with him.
Well, that kid didn't. He did not swing one time, yet everyone else just kept coming.
Yeah.
In fact, it doesn't even matter in the end because we find out that this Batman has full bulletproof armor.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, but
But
imagine like hitting his chest once, like your hand would probably just break.
Yeah, a guy pulls out a gun and the kid's like, no, and pushes the gun and it reflects off his chest. His little bat symbol, and I'm like, oh, that's cool.
The classic Batman trick.
And then this guy gets tased with Batman's hand, I guess. I'm not sure where.
I mean, I think it's like he's wearing like big gauntlets, like oven mitt looking fucking things.
Yeah, there's something on his suit, like on the bracers, that I don't know what they were for. They're never used.
You mean like on the gauntlets?
Yeah, like it's the silver.
They aren't. I have a picture of it up right now. I was waiting for those to be used the whole movie too.
But no, it's never used. It's just, I guess it's probably to block knives.
The interesting thing about the suit is that for like 2/3 of the movie, you can see him and you can see the silhouette of the suit, and it looks like bulky, like he's not carrying everything really well. And I go, oh, okay, so maybe in this movie he's gonna learn to have like a utility belt. But then I looked at the suit, like, again later, like, and there is a belt there.
Yeah, and he uses some stuff from his utility belt like that. This Batman, for one, isn't stealthy.
I guess I didn't notice that, but he really isn't. He did just walk into every room.
Yeah, literally, he learns about, like, later on about the Penguin's little bar, and he knocks on the front door and says, do you know who I am?
You know who I am.
And then
which is really funny because I think in story the next day Bruce Wayne does the exact same thing in almost the exact same voice, and I was like, there's no way that guy at the door doesn't like think, oh wait a minute,
oh we'll
you know who
we'll
I
get
am.
into that
I want to
later.
speak to the Penguin. What? Batman just said the same shit to me yesterday. Wait a minute. So
yeah, beats guys up and then moves on with his life.
Yeah, and he's like, I instill the fear of criminals. Instill the fear of whatever into criminals.
And the eye makeup.
And that brings us to the rest of the plot, which I don't think we're going to go into so much detail like that. Like the opening. But the opening was beautiful. It was like, I knew immediately after watching it, like that movie nailed the tone. And I know I was talking to you about how I don't think that a lot of Batman movies nail the tone.
No,
the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, Dorian has a hot take.
Hot take. I know.
I
don't
we
think
both kind of have a hot take. It's kind of a hot take. I mean, I guess
I've heard
a little
before.
bit, but over time, I think more people have been, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, open-minded to maybe the Dark Knight is a little overrated.
I don't think it's overrated because I think it is a fantastic movie. I just think it's a really bad depiction of Batman. Not bad. Yeah. Not really bad. I just don't think it's like... I think it's definitely like the worst. I think even George Clooney was a little bit better depiction of Batman. Yeah. Just like the movie itself, just like depicted Batman a little bit more Batman either way. Even if it's like joking, it's still like that like Silver Age goofy Batman. I feel like The Dark Knight, it could have been like anybody. Like, still would have been. It's like a great movie. They're great movies.
Yeah, it doesn't like it, honestly. Throughout this whole movie, like Robert Pattinson maybe takes off the suit like twice.
Yeah, he was in that suit the whole time.
And then is told to take a shower the one time he does.
So you can see his abs.
Yeah, so we got a few shirtless shots of Robert Pattinson being ripped.
Twilight. And they were great.
They were great. I'm not even gonna lie. I was
No,
like, okay,
yeah.
he's built. He kind of looks like a string bean in the outfit because you can't see muscles.
That's what the like probably 2-inch armor plating is.
Yes, probably. He's really not bulky, like at all. Instead of just like fucking jacked like Ben Affleck, which is also a cool ass look.
Yeah, it's like the Dark Knight Returns. He's a big old dude.
Yeah, and that's what he's supposed to look like.
But yes, and then now I think we can probably get into like the Catwoman kind of subplot ish.
It's like main. Okay, actually, this is the first thing that I have about the movie. I think the movie's super done really really well, really well paced, but it is long. It's a 3-hour ass movie, and everything in the movie is necessary to get to the. I don't feel like anything I watched was unnecessary.
No, definitely not.
It's not like they could have cut out anything, and I don't want them to. I wouldn't even have minded like a few more scenes, because there was a good pace.
Yeah, and I feel like it in my mind I would have liked it to be a little shorter, but I don't know what I would cut if I were to do that, which is why, like you said, nothing really needs to be cut.
Here's the way I saw it. It felt like I actually was reading like an event comic.
Oh yes.
So the thing I have off after kind of long is convoluted, because the story's not straightforward. Even if I wanted to explain the plot, I don't think I could. Like, not in like a couple sentences, because it's so interwoven in itself, which is fun and great.
Yeah, because it feels like there are layers. Like you said, it feels like you're reading an event comic where you have this plot going on with Selena Kyle and the the Iceberg Lounge.
Yeah, and
which is layered on top of Falcone, which is layered on top of the corrupt city of Gotham, which is layered into the overarching plot of the Riddler.
Yeah, and it is super interwoven, but like also kind of disconnected from it all.
Yeah, because honestly, I think at one point the Riddler makes another kill and then kind of disappears until the end. When
because they're dealing with the other like subplot.
Yeah, and then at the end of that subplot, they make the connection to there's a Riddler, let's go get that guy.
Yeah, and that like at the 2-hour mark, I think I was thinking to myself like it felt like the 2-hour mark. I wasn't timing it or anything.
Was it when Falcone? Oh, by the way, spoilers.
It was like within the Falcone stuff. I would say that I was like, wow, it really feels like I'm reading like a 9-issue comic book that's gonna be like talked about in later issues. Like this is a 9-issue arc.
That spoilers, obviously, but it was a 2-hour mark because I looked down when Falcone got shot, like he does in every iteration of Batman. This man just cannot seem to stay alive.
Which is fine with me. He's always a shitty person.
He is, and he got shot, and I looked down and I was like, are we done? Because it's like an hour left of the movie.
Yeah.
What else are we going to do?
That's another negative that I have. And these aren't like hard negatives. Like I still love the movie. Like overall, I would still give it like a 9.8 out of 10, really. But there were like 2 or 3 times where I thought the movie was over. I was like, well, they got Falcone and he was pulling all the strings, so I think the movie's over. And then they're like, well, the Riddler, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, yeah, well, then he got caught. And I was like, well, that's a little bit too easy, but that could also just be the end of the movie. Maybe he has a point to make. And then he was like, nah, I'm blowing up the city.
Yeah, that
and then I was
that's
like,
one of my points is that kind of came out of nowhere. Because this is very much a mystery movie. Like they're piecing together a plot.
Well, that's what they're trying to be. I don't think it's a good one.
It's not.
It's because a very good movie.
It's like, here's a murder, and I want to touch on this because the opening before Batman's opening, Riddler is in the shadows waiting for his kill.
Yeah.
This is weird, and it caught me a little off guard because there wasn't any, oh, you have to solve this riddle. No, he picks up, what was it? Like one of those things to pry floorboards.
Oh,
And
the carpet thing.
yeah, the carpet thing, and he just bashes the guy's head in. And I was like, oh, he just murdered that. Like, no chance, came up behind him screaming.
Which makes sense once you figure out the character is just like some dude who's felt wronged and like ignored.
Yeah.
Like, of course, his like first out kill would just be him like just
Killing
kinda
a dude.
beating the shit
Yeah.
out of a dude. He's not the
And
Riddler
then-
yet.
He's not, and it's very much an origin. It feels like an origin for the Riddler, because he's like, his next thing is like, oh, here's this. What was his next one? It was the rat thing, right?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, oh, I'm targeting corrupt officials, and here's all the evidence, and he has like this rat cage thing, but he doesn't even ask that guy to solve a riddle. We don't get to the riddles until the third victim.
Well, there's like riddles at every one, but like they're not all that important.
I think
Yeah.
just the riddles are for specifically Batman, not anyone else, really.
No, yeah, he's like, hey, here's this riddle.
So it's a
Find me
bad-
next
Which-
time.
Can we go to the end where Alfred got the thing and it said to Bruce Wayne? And I was like, okay, Alfred, you have seen all of the letters this far, right? They all have the exact same handwriting as that. Don't open that fucking letter. And he opened it. I was like, God damn it.
Yeah, this Alfred's missing a few brain cells.
It's not even for you. I'm going to arrest his ass for opening up Bruce Wayne's mail.
He's his caretaker. He's his father.
This is the first Alfred that didn't feel like, at least for like the first half of the movie, he was like not even like a big deal.
No, and he also was not like a fan of Bruce going out and doing Batman stuff.
But that's like a normal like Alfred thing, at least in the beginning. He's like,
Yeah,
I don't
but
really
I don't
appreciate-
think he ever came around to being like, yes, this is something you have to do. Because he gets blown up, and then he's in the hospital for the rest of the movie. And then the first thing that happens when he wakes up is Bruce saying, hey, you lied to me. And then he's like, no, I didn't. Falcone actually had your parents murdered.
Yeah.
Which is something I was kind of bothered by, that they tried to pull off as a twist, with Bruce going to Falcone and Falcone being like, no, the last crime boss, Maroni.
See, and this is the other thing. I know I was ranting to you about how all Batman stories do, like the Waynes were kind of bad, low key. I said, I swear to God, if I see fucking Falcone and Maroni doing some bad, like I want a movie about the Riddler.
Yeah, and they don't really do much. I mean, Maroni's not even in the movie. He's dead from the
Dead,
start.
yeah.
They're like, yeah, he got killed because of a drug bust, and now the
crime families, whatever, sure, they're cool.
yeah.
But I was like,
Stop.
God, they're really doing like the Waynes weren't as good as you think type of story again, and I just
No, but then
but they
Alfred-
did it differently.
Yeah, because Falcone's like, no, your father was trying to help, and then blah blah blah, and he got killed because it's all this stuff. And then Alfred's like, nah, Falcone killed the dude and had dirt on your dad, and your dad was gonna rat because he's a good man,
I like
and he was
that.
trying to protect your mother.
I like that it was like the reasoning was totally like, oh, his mom has just been like in and out of a insane
Asylums.
asylum, and it's like, well, she's getting the help she needs, but of course, if like information like that got out, it would be seen negatively. So that's like, okay, that's cool, that reasoning behind it, and that they don't necessarily give you the answer to his parents' death. They're like, it could have been planned. Also, might have just been some dude who wanted some money. Like,
Yeah.
no one knows. It might have
Because
been.
they don't say directly Falcone did it. They say that's what it looks like.
That's what it looks like, or that it looks like Maroni did it too. And it's like both sides have like a good reason to have sent a hit on them, but also could have just been some dude who wanted money in an alley.
I feel like we should take a step back because we did just skip over all of Catwoman, or what sort of is Catwoman.
I was gonna save her for the performances, but we can talk about the plot line of that. So
Yeah.
Catwoman likes cats.
Yep.
She's
And
beautiful.
she's with a what is it? Russian woman, and the Russian woman gets killed.
I don't think that were they like dating, or was it just like another stray that she picked up? Quote
Another
unquote.
stray that she picked up, basically, because she's like, oh, I like helping strays, and the
She kept
Russian
calling her
woman,
like
she
baby,
was,
and I was like, are you like a mom to this woman, or are you like a friend to this woman?
I don't know. They don't,
Because Zoe Kravitz isn't like that old.
because if they're going out, she was real quick to switch over to Batman.
She was. She's switching over to Batman while they were looking for her.
Yeah, the whole issue is that she's being blackmailed by Falcone because he has her passport, and she has some dirt on them, and then she gets murdered.
Dirt she didn't even want to have. She was just in the room and heard a conversation on accident.
Yeah, and that's when Batman follows her because what was it? There was
I gotta
another.
say that was pretty stalky of him.
Yeah.
When he like confronted her the first time and he was like, "Your friend really seems sad at the apartment," and she just looked at him like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "Yeah, dude, what the fuck is wrong?" Like, okay, stalk her. Don't tell her about it. At least you look like such a weirdo.
He like went and saw her change.
Yeah, he is watching her.
He's watching her, and then she suits up and then goes to get the girl's passport. And the only reason she was after the girl is because she was in the photo with the I guess some politician, like the politician that was killed in the beginning by Riddler.
She was in.
He's trying to figure out why, and then he sees there were photos of him and this other girl he was probably abusing and having an affair with. And he sees this girl's shoes and sees that girl leave and go home to Catwoman's house.
And just
and
follows them.
Yeah, it just follows them, stalks them for a hot minute.
Stalks them for a while.
Okay, another complaint.
But that is
Catwoman's mask
bad.
covers like nothing.
Yeah, not a good mask.
Yeah, no, not a good mask. It shows like the majority of her face and only really covers up her hair and nose.
And also, it's just like a hat. It's not like a thing that's meant to look like a cat. Like, it just coincidentally has some, like, 2 points on the side. But it is just like a beanie that she's, like, shoving over her face.
Yeah, it's like a beanie she cut holes in, but the holes were too big, and it just covers a nose.
And I did see a picture of Zoe Kravitz in, like, the old Catwoman outfit. I think from, like, 89 or something.
Like the one with the white lines and stitches.
I swear to God, I saw a picture of her in that. And I was like, damn, she looks badass.
That's a shame.
Yeah, we got some weird cloth-ass mask, which is fine. I do really, really, really appreciate the way that she fought. I guess it's specifically because she was doing the martial arts that, like, I was learning. But she's doing only kicks the whole movie, and Batman's, like, boxing people the whole movie. So that's a real fun contrast in the action scenes that they have together. The few. It's like you're not ever gonna mix up one for the other. Like she's throwing feet and he's throwing hands.
She very much has long, sharp nails,
but she never uses them. She keeps kicking people. She doesn't ever.
She uses them like once, or twice.
Like when she's getting strangled, she starts like clawing into this dude's face.
Yeah, Falcone, and then like the guy she holds hostage on the roof that killed her. Like friend, lover, whatever. He had scratches on his face before, like as they were getting up there.
I didn't even realize that she had long nails until like halfway through the movie. I saw a scene where I think she puts her hand on someone's face, and I see them, and I go, "Oh shit, yeah, she's got claws because she's Catwoman." And then I thought, I don't think I've ever seen her. Like I've noticed that she has a super distinct fighting style where she's kicking everything, but I have not seen her like fucking claw at somebody yet. And I don't think I ever did. Not like an action piece.
No, it was very slow and deliberate because I think trying to keep to the realism, I guess, quote unquote, she'd probably break her nails trying to scratch someone.
Yeah, though, and because they were her nails. It wasn't like nails that were on a glove.
She grew them out.
But I thought maybe they'd pull some comic bullshit and use them anyway. But yeah, they definitely should be like gloves with like nails on them. And maybe they will be next time we see her.
Yeah, but that's her whole plot. And then
Falcone's her dad, and she doesn't like him, and she's like, "Dad, you suck. Let me do my own thing. Let me be my own woman, Dad."
and then she tries to kill him, and then the Riddler kills him because he's like, that's part of my plan. Now there's gonna be a power struggle.
Let's talk about the ending. I guess we touched on it a little bit.
Yes.
After all the stuff with Falcone is dealt with, and this is already convoluted because the movie is kind of convoluted. They take like a hard detour halfway through to deal with the Falcone stuff.
Yeah, and then Penguin very much is like, I'm in charge now, and Falcone's like, Oz, you? Yeah, right. And then he's like, I'm gonna splatter your brains. And then Falcone gets shot, but by the Riddler.
By the Riddler.
What a confusing riddle. I really didn't understand that one.
And, yeah, bring him into the light, and then he shot. Like, Batman just did it on accident, really. He just happened to be under a lamppost, and he got shot, and he was like, shit.
Yeah, and then that's where I looked down and saw that there was an hour left, and I was like, where are we going with this? And literally, like, 5 minutes after Falcone gets shot, the Riddler lets himself get caught.
Yeah. That happened, and I was like, well, obviously he let himself get caught, and there's a lot of game left in this movie. So that happened. He let himself get caught, and then was like, didn't you see it the whole time, Batman? You didn't know? All the clues were there. And this is why I think it's like a bad mystery movie, because normally all the clues are there for you as a viewer to see, and if you're smart enough and paying attention, you would have noticed a bunch of things that added up. But like a lot of the ending of the movie
did not.
Yeah, there wasn't like it wasn't stuff that you knew about before.
It's like if you were watching Scooby-Doo, and then at the end they unmasked the killer to someone who wasn't in the entire episode.
Yeah, and you're like, who the fuck was that?
Yeah, it's like, this is Steve from like down the street. He was never on screen, but you should have saw him.
Yeah, Riddler was explaining his backstory, and I was talking to the whole movie of like, I wonder who he is. I wonder if I'm gonna figure it out because he's wearing a mask the whole time. So I thought it was gonna be like a guessing game of like which one's the Riddler. But it wasn't. He took off his mask, and it was just some dude that you've never seen before. And he was like,
and he's like, I was an orphan, and
I was
Batman...
like, well, how the fuck was I supposed to figure out that one?
Yeah, and he's talking to Batman as if they're partners, but at this point, the only thing we saw as viewers is that he might know Bruce Wayne is Batman because he had this crazy board of like conspiracies, and he's like, who is the Batman? And there just happened to be a picture of Bruce Wayne next to it.
And that scene in the jail was like annoying when he was just like, Bruce
Wayne.
And I was like, oh shit, he knows. Oh fuck, he knows. And it's like that for like 2 minutes before he's like, Bruce Wayne is the only one we have left to kill. And I was like, oh, why'd you just waste 2 minutes of my time, dude?
He literally did that like 3 times before a real conversation started. And then Batman was like, oh, he doesn't know. Cool.
He doesn't, yeah.
What we caught you, and he's like, no. And then he's like, you're crazy. He's like, this wasn't supposed to go this way. We're partners. And Batman's like, you're crazy.
No, I can understand what he's says, because like none of his like calling cards were like that malicious or anything. It was just hey Batman, follow these riddles and help me out. And Batman did.
He was doing them without knowing he was helping the Riddler, and the Riddler, excuse me, was just like, yay, he's my partner because he's helping me.
Yeah, because he's going through with all my riddles and doing it. And that's like a really smart way to do that, I think.
Yeah, and it was great. And I like how this just sets up that Riddler is like, Batman isn't smart because he hasn't figured out the thing that was never really
explained. Not at all
explained, because he's like, oh, we were supposed to watch it from here in safety. And he's like, well, what do you mean? He's like, oh, you're stupid. Okay, yeah, you can go away now.
Because also like in his mind, he like loves riddles as a kid, so he was like, well, Batman probably also loves them. And then Batman did them with him, so he's like, well, Batman obviously loves riddles and is helping me out, and he's like my pal. So when he's like not his friend, and then also like didn't figure out like the biggest riddle, I guess he like felt betrayed, which is I think it was really
get that.
Well done.
But what I hate is that he says the clues were there from the start. They really weren't.
They weren't. Not as a viewer. Not to you.
Not as a viewer, but even that's the thing. If we're following Batman, we as a viewer should see what he's seeing. Unless I missed it, which we probably did because small brain syndrome.
Yeah.
He goes back to Riddler's apartment and rips up the carpet, hence the little carpet thing from the beginning of the movie, and then just scribbled on the floor are points. It's the city, and there are points that have bombs in them, and that's a big riddle. He's gonna blow up the water gates so the city floods, and then he has a bunch of like YouTube fans go and snipe a politician that's about to become mayor.
Yeah, the movie goes from 0 to 100 real fucking fast.
But when he figures it out,
What do you mean real fast? It took 2.5 hours.
I guess, but like in the 5 minutes.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, Riddler's caught, everything's dying down. What's the big twist?
Go poof! Everyone explodes. The whole city's flooded. I was like, what the fuck?
The city explodes, like the water gates, everything's flooding, and the Riddler is just narrating like, there will be no time. And Batman finds a little tape, and I chuckled a little bit to this. It's Riddler in full costume, but without the like voice mod he had on.
Yeah.
And he's just talking to his like private streamers that are supporting him like it's fucking Patreon.
Well, I do love that he's like on whatever incel Twitter he's on, and is like kind of famous on it.
He's like, hey guys, thanks for the support.
Make sure to like and subscribe.
Yeah. He's like, thanks for the help.
Like and subscribe if you want to eat the rich.
He's like, thanks for the money for the bombs. They've been planted and they'll go off that night. You just got to be ready. And it was funny.
Like all of like the things were there. It was all set up. But yeah, when he got into the room and the cop, which like I thank God for that cop having weird knowledge about gardening tools or whatever, or home improvement tools. It was like, yeah, you really killed that guy with that thing for carpets. My dad used to work with it. And Batman was just like, huh?
Like the world's greatest detective didn't know carpentry.
Oh, carpets! And then looked down. He was like, oh, there's a carpet here. There's a carpet here.
I wonder what's under the carpet. And the guy's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, because Batman looks like a psychopath. He heard like, oh, he died with a carpet tool. Yeah. So he just starts fucking like digging into the carpet like a madman. You're like, what? Hey, what the fuck, dude?
Like, not only is this like an active crime scene, he's like tossing aside all this evidence and ripping everything up on the floor.
This is like the one movie where I can say that the cops were like right to like not trust Batman. Like in other movies, he's like very clearly a hero. Not very clearly, but like pretty easily a hero.
In this one, he's like brooding silent, like he's ready to murder someone. And whenever like something major comes up, he's like, the fingerprints, it's the blood splatter. It was cut while he was alive. And they just look at him like he's a psychopath. He's like,
yeah, well, because like, first of all, this dude's like beating the shit out of people in alleyways. Yeah. And then he like comes to crime scenes in like full like weird ass leather outfit with a cape on, just like staring at people. That's the one thing Robert Pattinson did. He was staring like
I realized
hard.
I'm thinking about this now. What if he was staring to get a profile on everyone?
That's exactly what I think he was doing. It was like
okay,
he was,
yeah,
like, looking at things long for like the recording too that he like goes back and watches.
We learned he has contacts that are electronic, and that's like his detective vision. So he's constantly seeing everything in an orange hue.
I don't know if it's like a super orange hue. It's also only in like one eye.
No, he had two eyes.
Oh, did he? I thought he only took out like one contact.
No, he took out one and then left the other one on so he can see the footage playback.
But yeah, you see him do that, and I go, oh, okay, that's why he's like looking at everyone like a freak. He's staring at them for long times. Like, I'd be terrified of this dude too. And he just starts fucking with crime scenes every time he gets there. And it's like, come on, like, dude, what the fuck?
I mean, to be fair, like, Detective Gordon is right. He's wearing gloves, but like, he's touching everything.
He's touching everything. He's just standing there. Menacingly.
Like, the commissioner, the first one, is right to be like, this dude is like, he could be a psychopath. Look at him.
Yeah, look at him. He does look like a psychopath. Batman's fucking weird.
Yeah, he's emo. He doesn't like people. He's
He
not.
doesn't like speak up enough to be like, hey, I'm doing the right thing, which is great. Batman's like that. That's like the most Batman thing. Like he's just doing his job. He doesn't like give a shit enough to like explain it to anybody else other than
But
like Gordon.
even here, it feels like there's a lesson learned for him at the end because he becomes a people person at the end.
Yeah,
Because
he's fighting for
throughout
the
the
people.
whole movie, he's like he doesn't care what people think of him.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to beat the shit out of anyone I come across that's like littering, and then I'm going to solve crimes.
So like
I
yeah, of
don't.
course like people just know that some dude in a fucking giant leather body armored suit beats the shit out of them at night. Like of course the whole city would be terrified.
And even so, like the people he saves,
Yeah, like
they're
they
like,
don't want to
dude,
grab his hand.
yeah, they're like, don't hurt me. And he doesn't even say, I'm not going to hurt you. He just like looks at them and then walks away.
Yeah. Batman's a fucking freak. So this dude starts tearing up carpets. And I was like, oh, okay, sure. And then they like, it shows his plan happening. And I'm like, okay, so none of this was set up. All of this is like last second surprise, which
Yeah.
I'm fine with it being a last second surprise. But
I'm like, whatever.
I
Like,
came into
let's
the
get
movie
to the end.
expecting to like have like a giant riddle to solve the whole time.
No, the riddle is you were never supposed to know what was going to happen.
Instead, I just got a really good movie, which is fine.
Yeah. So he goes out. Last fight scene, pretty cool.
Which is, I'm glad I did kind of get that. I'm not glad, but when the movie ended, I was like, well, the Riddler and like Falcone aren't like big like action set piece fight
yeah.
like situations. So
Like-
when
like-
the city started getting flooded, it was like 0 to 100, but I was like, there it is. There's like,
There's the action set piece I was looking for,
Yeah.
and they're what is it? Riddler's Twitter followers dress up as him and are like
his
over this.
incel followers.
Yeah, they're over this like kind of high rise in the building, and they have snipers and shotguns, and they're clipping on.
The city's
They're-
flooded too. Like there's like a shot in there where like the water just like rushes down the main street as like people were just walking, and I was like, holy shit! I wouldn't want to
Yeah.
live in Gotham. Fuck that.
Here's my question:
How do they fix that? Anyway, what's your question?
when the last action set piece starts up,
Yeah,
did he like take his time to plant explosives
at the
to
top.
jump in there? Yeah.
Also, that was so extra. Again,
Because,
why
like,
people are
literally
fucking terrified of him.
The time taken, because that was a pretty big dome he fell through.
He was
and
just up there running
explosives went
around.
Yeah, but like within that time, he could have stopped them from shooting the next mayor because she gets shot in the stomach.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, she could.
Yeah, she was like, nah, I ain't gonna run. I'm not like these other politicians. And she runs out and is like, can I get everyone's attention, please? Bang! And then she falls over. She's not dead, of course, but
Yeah.
like then Batman comes in, and I'm like, literally, this man was running up there, setting explosives to make this cool entrance that did nothing.
Well, yeah, one of my friends who saw it, she was like, why the fuck did he do that? Now there's a flood and glass is just falling on all of the people below. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, that was really extra for no reason. I literally thought the Riddler planted more bombs on the ceiling to like fuck with people, and then Batman flew down, and I was like, oh, he did. Why would he do that? Just like
I'm
kick
like, that's
open
a-
one window.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, that's a cool entrance, but like
It's
glass is falling
unnecessary.
on literally everyone.
And at the end, everyone was crawling out of that ceiling that he like blew up. So I was like, yeah, okay, sure, that was the reason for it.
Uh-huh.
It was extra. It was also really funny with everything going on in Ukraine, right? And like the president like stepping up to like help the citizens. So then like the mayor does that in this movie and then gets downed immediately. I thought it was
Yeah.
funny. I was
Yeah,
like,
but
not as badass as
no,
the
not at
Ukrainian
all.
president.
She didn't even get everyone's attention. They
No,
were all still
she-
scrambling.
No one quieted down at all. Everyone ignored her. Black women are ignored in America, Will. That's the message behind this movie.
100%. Yeah, and then he gets shot by I think a shotgun point blank.
Which I
Right.
thought was really funny cuz like obviously on like their Twitter, they were talking about bringing assault rifles and this dude was like up in the rafters with a shotgun. Like he didn't get the message at all.
No, he didn't. So like the the I would say climax is just like all hope is lost for him. Is he gets point blank hit with a shotgun,
This
and
dude's
then he's
holding a
hanging on the
shotgun.
edge. He's hanging on the edge.
Which that would hurt. The way he fell and like had to like
Oh yeah,
rotate his shoulder to like catch himself and
yeah.
dangle
No,
there. Ooh.
he's hanging there, and then Catwoman comes in and then hits the guy, and then pulls him up, and then she's getting choked out,
And
and
the power of pussy, dude.
the power of drugs apparently, because
The power of pussy made him get drugs. He was like, my girlfriend, I can't let her die.
she's getting choked out like hard. And he's like trying to get up and he can't. One, he has like 50 pounds of like iron strapped to his chest. Two, he's exhausted. So he reaches into his utility belt finally and injects himself with adrenaline, quote unquote. But I'm pretty sure it's Venom, Bane's.
That's what I was.
thing.
It looked like the
Because like
the
he
Venom.
shoots up and like
And then starts to like kill that guy.
Yeah, he puts him down and then like beats his head in.
Like, don't ever fuck with Catwoman. Holy shit. Batman might kill you.
But this is where I'm like, I kind of wish this movie had a rated R. I wish it was rated R. And because like there are a lot of scenes that would have just benefited from having blood and other things, because they're like, oh, the commissioner, his face was eaten by rats. Look at this penguin, and the penguin's like, hey, what's wrong with his face? Why are you showing me this? And I'm like, I wish I could see it. I can't. I don't know what he did to the guy.
I was also gonna leave that for later, but I actually really love how they depicted violence. I think it's really nice that it's not super gory.
Oh
like
yeah,
PG-13. It's like artsy.
Yes, I agree. PG-13. They did it like the best.
I like, because I'm not someone who like needs to see all of the blood and the gore and the violence. Like, I already understood when that dude's head was in that like rat cage and he's like, I gotta eat their way out. I was like, shit. Like, I don't need the visual of that, especially with the penguin. Like, hey, get that shit out of my face. Like, that's exactly what I would say if the movie showed me that. And there was that scene.
I get that.
Where someone was getting like the shit beat out of him, but the scene was just like out of focus the whole time.
Right.
It was just like kind of beautiful because it's like you can clearly tell exactly what's going on without seeing it,
but not seeing. See, that's
the beauty of like not seeing violence.
That's an interesting take. I understand that, but in a way, I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool because I like practical effects and I like seeing what you can do. Like, I'm not a psychopath saying like, oh, I want to see his face get eaten by rats.
Yeah, no,
but I'm like,
no,
I would have loved to, because like I used to watch what was it, Face Off, when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And there were like a lot of cool stuff you can do with practical like makeup.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would have loved to at least see like an aftermath photo, because I give like huge props to like people who can like do that stuff and make it look real. I did like that when they took off the guy's mask that Batman was beating his head in, his like face was swollen.
It wasn't like mangled or anything. It was
just
really
like
fucked up.
Yeah, it looked like he had like an allergy attack 10 times over. But that's where I fall in the line of like, I like to see gore, but not for gore's sake, but for like the art's sake of someone taking the time to do that.
It's like to show, like, there I think it would have worked to show like what Batman has like become. If that dude was like super mangled and bloody, maybe Batman would have seen that and been like, shit, like I'm the villain.
Yeah, he kind of does have that epiphany. When
it doesn't hit as hard without the gore. I know what you mean.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, who the hell are you? He's like, I'm Vengeance, and Batman looks down like, crap. I messed up.
That was another thing my friend was saying. She was like, oh, Batman doesn't like act like Batman, and I was like, well, that's kind of the point. He was like,
not.
He's like, she was like, he's not like a superhero or anything. He's not saving people. He's blowing up glass over their heads, and I was like, exactly. And then the villains followed his philosophies, and then it was like very clear that he was in the wrong when they said, I'm Vengeance, and he was like, fuck. Maybe I should be more than just vengeance. You gotta be hope. Justice.
And then immediately after, he goes down there because there's like electric wire about to touch the flooded water, and he takes off his bat symbol, which is a knife,
Yes.
and cuts the wire.
Which I
And
guess is the first batarang.
I guess because I didn't see him throw one at all.
He didn't throw it, but he used it to cut a couple things in the movie.
Yeah, and then he gets up from the water and lights a flare, I guess, and holds his hand
nice
out.
Shot. Him walking
Yes.
through the water with the flare and like everyone following behind him.
Yeah, but he goes up and he holds his hand out and no one takes it. And then the kid from the beginning, whose dad was murdered, takes it, and then everyone follows suit.
What is Batman gonna pull him out and then like beat the shit out of them?
Vengeance.
Wouldn't that be funny though? If he was like, "Yeah, now I got you," and just like fucking, boop, 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 boop. Anyone else?
Yeah, he becomes the Batman at the
And
end.
then the movie ends, kind of.
Yeah,
Riddler is in Arkham, and somebody back there is like, "Hey, you did your best. You had a nice try. Good job.
Riddle me this.
Riddle me this. Does everyone see you as like a clown?" And I was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ!"
And I'm glad it just wasn't. I'm glad. Look, I told myself at the very beginning if I heard Jared Leto's laugh, I was walking out. I hate it.
I thought it was Jerome from Gotham for like a hot minute.
Hype.
I was just like, holy shit, it's Jerome!
I was like, look, I didn't finish Gotham. I enjoyed what I saw, but it definitely got bad after a while. And I heard the actor who plays Jerome, I'm drawing a blank on his name.
It's Cameron Monog? Something like that. He was in Shameless.
Montague? Something like that.
Was he in Shameless?
Yeah, he was like...
Yeah, he was the brother. He was the red-haired brother.
I feel like that was a different actor.
It's not.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It does feel like it's a different actor, but it is not. But he did great as the Joker in Gotham, and then the guy in the Batman just sounded like him, like a lot. And they weren't showing his face, and I was like, oh my god, did they fucking get that dude? And it wasn't him. But whoever it is back there, I wasn't really sold.
Laugh.
He had a good laugh. I wasn't sold until he started laughing.
Yeah, because he's like, making jokes and...
Riddle me this.
What's something that the less you have, it becomes more valuable? And he's like, a friend.
And then he started going off, and I was like, oh, that's terrifying. That's the Joker. There it is.
Yeah, no, they're both like laughing, and the Joker laugh kicks in. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, I'm for it. And
Cameron Monaghan. That's probably not how you say that. Monahan, probably. Monaghan.
Cameron. No, I can see why you say Monaghan.
Because it looks... I just speak English. He was in Click? Anyway. It's off topic. And then Batman says goodbye, Catwoman. And it's a little sad.
And they go separate ways, literally. Like, she goes in one direction and he rides his motorcycle in another.
There's a couple shots in the movie, but that one specifically was like, I could see that was like a comic book panel of like one of them going towards the panel screen towards us, and one of them going towards the other way. And of course, it's Catwoman coming towards us, and Batman like going back into the shadows, back to his darkness, back to his shit, while she's like, going out to the light. Yeah, you know, cinematography or whatever.
I doubt it's really good in this movie for one.
Very good. Now that we're off of the plot, we're not going to and we did the ending. We can talk about the performances specifically.
I think everyone killed it.
They did.
I think the only my one complaint is not even a complaint. The second chief or commissioner that comes up that has the really light voice.
Yeah.
That whenever they're in the interrogation scene of Batman, he's like, I'll give you 10 minutes. I don't like this. After 10 minutes, I'm going to arrest him. I hated his voice so much because tried to sound so intimidating, but he just sounded like he was trying to breathe.
I'm gonna catch you on assaulting a cop. You're gonna catch me on assaulting 3 more.
I got you assaulting a cop. I'm like, I hate this guy's voice. And then he doesn't show up after that. But other than that, yeah, Colin Farrell killed it.
Well, okay, let's go down the list. Robert
Right.
Pattinson, right? Killed it as Batman. Robert Pattinson didn't play a Bruce Wayne, which
Nope.
is fine.
Every time he showed up as Bruce Wayne, he was very emo.
He's super emo. He's basically Batman, not in the outfit.
Yeah, like if you just put the eyeshadow on, people would be like, "Hey, that's Batman."
Yeah, which is fine because I understand that early Batman didn't understand that as Bruce Wayne, he could also do things to help the city, and that's like
And
one of the big flaws.
yeah, and that he brings that up. He's like, I can only do things as the Bat. Bruce the Wayne.
It's like,
Who cares
bro,
about Wayne Industries?
You're rich. You could literally change the city if you wanted to on your own. And I think he figures that one out by the end because he has to be a symbol of hope. And of course, the Riddler's whole thing was that the rich really didn't do anything to help. And
Yeah.
Batman, who is rich, is really not doing fucking anything to help anyone.
No, he's kind of a dick the entire movie.
He is a dick, but that's Batman, you know? Batman starts out thinking only about vengeance and then learns that he has to be a little more than that. So, it works really well. I'd
Alright,
say
very-
Batman is the only character in this movie that Robert Pattinson plays. He doesn't really play a Bruce Wayne, but that's fine.
Because that's who he's literally listed as Batman, not even Batman Bruce Wayne, just Batman.
Yeah, and you see a lot of Batman. I love the suit. I love the way it looked. All of its like little intricacies, even though it does look like bulky and like not.
Yeah, well, it makes sense when you realize that there's a whole scene of him walking down a hallway and taking automatic fire to the
Oh
chest.
yeah, that fight scene with the lights flashing, the gun flares. Ooh, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Moving
Zoe
on to
Kravitz,
Zoe, yeah, beautiful woman, great Catwoman.
very athletic and just like doing her own stunts and fighting.
She was doing
Awesome.
capoeira that whole time. Did you see that?
Yeah, just straight up. Ooh,
The first thing she did, I caught that shit in the trailer. I saw her when she like switched arms and like legs and faked them out with the low kick to up to high. I was like, oh shit, that's just pure capoeira. Batman fell for it. I loved her fights.
he fell for it and he fell for her.
He fell for her. He's like, I've never been kicked in the face before. Back to that. He didn't do a Batman voice, which is fine. But then
No,
also when he talked as Bruce Wayne to anybody who's ever talked to Batman, then
Yeah,
at
like
that point,
The two guys at the door.
yeah, they
that
should have
you-
known.
Look,
you know
they
who
got
I
their-
am. I want to talk to Penguin. What?
You know who I am. I want to talk to Penguin. It's like, wait, hold on.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
Are you? This is. I mean, to be fair, they got their shit rocked, so they probably forgot what he sounded like.
That was really funny. And they're like, yeah, okay. And they close the door and they open it again and they're like, hey, this guy's looking for the Penguin. There ain't no Penguin in here. That's what I said.
Yeah, it's just a pair of twins, and he's like, "Hey, you want to get that suit bloody? Mine or yours?"
And it beats him up. And I'll talk about that later. But back to
Zoe
Zoe
Kravitz.
Kravitz. We already said she doesn't use her nails. She fights with her feet. She's very good. She's not like overly sexual.
No, she has like a bodysuit, but it kind of looks like a motorcycle suit.
It's
You know what I mean?
absolutely like a motorcycle. She's just wearing like leather.
And her mask is dumb. She rarely wears it to begin with, but it covers nothing. Like like it's the worst burglar mask you can have.
Yeah. Everyone should know who she is, but like, then
Like
no one does.
it shows her eyebrows, it shows her eyes, it shows almost her entire mouth. It just covers her nose.
It just covers her nose, yeah.
I guess you can argue that they wouldn't know it's her because she does wear wigs to make it look like she has more hair.
Even then, it's not like having hair would like make the mask look that different. But yeah, there was something interesting. There was like obviously like a big like romantic / sexual tension between her and Batman, but she wasn't like, oh shit, she wasn't like overtly like trying to suck him off the whole movie. And everyone, she like was really reluctant to use like any sex appeal too when she had to talk to that dude in the club.
Yeah, because
Like,
she's like, if I stare for too long, he's gonna come over here, and he's like, look at him. I need to get his profile.
Which is really interesting because I'm used to like Catwoman using that Like she's like known for using that. In this one, she was like,
Yeah.
I really don't want to. Like she can, but she's like, I don't
Yeah.
want to talk to that guy. He's kind of weird.
If anything, the only thing she really uses is her connection to Falcone to be like, I want to see my father.
Yeah, pretty much. Other than like, and she's also like, she's like a good fighter, good enough, but I don't think she's like trained or anything.
No, she gets rocked hard during the Falcone fight scene.
She does. It's like she can fight. She's just like not the best, which is nice because they always put her on like the same level as Batman. But like this is just a chick in a really bad mask.
In a really bad mask, in a really bad situation that she doesn't want to be in.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, I can kick some people, but like, and she's
I
like
really don't want to
badass.
work.
I think Zoe Kravitz did a good job. Paul Dano as the Riddler,
Yeah.
or Dano, whatever.
Dano, I've seen him in a couple other movies. He kills it. He's very underrated, and I hope that this is his this is what sets him off to doing other like big movies.
He was very good. As soon as they took off his mask, I was like, that is the Riddler for sure.
Yeah,
With
he's
the
just
mask on, I was like, he's just like a weird fucking dude.
yeah, that's just Riddler. Is a nerdy weird dude, who tries to put on a face like he's much better and cooler than everyone else.
I did really, really want him to put on like the top hat and green suit. I knew it wasn't gonna happen, but I really wanted it.
I mean, maybe
Riddle
in
me
the
this,
next movie.
Batman. Yeah, maybe in the next movie. If there's anything that's gonna happen in the next movie, it's that the Joker
But,
is gonna be like flashy and over the top and put the Riddler in something fucking ridiculous.
But he definitely plays a more demented and psychologically like destroyed Riddler because he has like he clearly has mental issues because he's like screaming and like repeating stuff over and over again.
Yeah, I think he did a fantastic job with that. Because as soon as he gets put in Arkham and you like hear him like talk to Batman a lot more, you're like, oh no, this dude is crazy. Like he's right,
Yeah.
but he is kind of just insane. Not even kind of. I do love the way he talked. I think it was a really interesting way to like modernize the Riddler, I guess. Just like him,
Yeah,
just like giving
it's
hate
like
speech and like just kind of yelling out of nowhere, like it would be like a YouTube video.
yeah, it's like they tried to have him do like riddle me that like talk in riddles, but he's like talking in different cadences.
Riddle me this, Batman! What goes on in the night? And I'm like, wow, this guy's really intense. I kind of loved it though.
No, yeah, it was really good. I don't know.
Because
if
like,
you've
of course,
ever
he's like crazy. Because he would just be like conversing, you know, whatever, and just like
Yeah, 'cause
start
he's like-
screaming, and you're like, oh, dude,
He's like, no,
no.
this wasn't supposed to go how I planned it.
Yeah, he's like having a full mental breakdown, and Batman's just like,
What have you done?
good thing he doesn't know I'm Bruce Wayne.
Um,
Which was interesting. That was like the first like scene in the trailer. It's like, what have you done? But like that's like one of the last scenes of the movie.
he doesn't know. Cool. What have you done? The bombs are about to explode.
Chicka-poof. Oh, you didn't figure it out? I guess you're not as smart as I thought you were. Colin
Colin Farrell. Yeah.
He
Holy crap. See, again, makeup does wonders for this man.
I asked you before. I really thought he just like put on weight for the role, but it looks like it's just like prosthetics.
If he put on weight, that's a dangerous amount of weight, but
yeah, because it did go to his face. I don't know, maybe I don't know. He did a good job. He was the Penguin. He did like the Penguin looks kind of really fucking goofy. He's just like an orb with like a really weird pointy nose.
Yeah,
I had no idea that was Colin Farrell until you just said that.
Yeah, no, they put a whole lot of makeup on this man.
I wouldn't have known it was Colin Farrell unless they they advertised it a bunch. They're like, Colin Farrell is the Penguin, and I was like, what?
It looks like he's just been out on the sun too much, and his skin is like bad, and he has scars everywhere, and
he's crusty looking.
Yeah, he looks crusty, and in the rain, he just looks wet crust.
Oh, I guess in the same instance, the Penguin in the movie was great, and I think he did need to be there, but he also didn't. He wasn't like a villain. which
No,
was
he
fun. He was just part of Gotham.
was like a goon, and he's like, I don't know anything, because Batman straight up talks to him. He's not even interrogating him. He's like, what do you know about this girl? He's like, I
He
don't.
is the Penguin, and that's kind of
Yeah.
how they deal with the Penguin. And that he is like a goon, but you can't really like get him on anything. He's not done anything.
Yeah, he's like, look, there are shady dealings going on. I keep my nose out of it. What I can tell you is that this is the politician dude, and he's I guess he's been doing stuff. Not my problem.
I appreciate that Batman isn't infallible. He like made a mistake. Like we spent like one of the coolest action scenes, one of the coolest car chases ever was all for nothing. Like it had no hard bearing because they were chasing the wrong guy.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's one of those things that like happen because they always like
And
Batman's
now-
pretty like Batman knows everything. He doesn't make mistakes. There's that clip that was like where he punched the woman as soon as he walked in, and it's like it was Poison Ivy, but like how the fuck did he know? And
Yeah.
the hammer of justice is unisex. Fucking
Basically.
hilarious clip. But like this movie kind of had him do that, cast the Penguin, and then go, fuck, we got the wrong guy. Like it has nothing to do with him. This was absolutely useless. Waste of my fucking time.
And now knowing that, man, did a lot of people die in that car chase scene.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit. But I do appreciate that, like, not like this Batman's not sneaking around. He's not smart enough to like know everything and everyone. He's like socially awkward, and he makes bad decisions and choices. That one being the biggest. Like, obviously, it was a good lead. A rat with wings. I would have just called that a bat, but sure, whatever.
That's what I was thinking, because it was like in Latin, and I know a little Spanish. I'm like, okay, that's just straight up a bat with wings, and they're like a penguin.
And
No,
you're like, what?
a falcon, falcon. That's a rat with wings, and they're like, no, a bat.
A bat.
That's you.
A bat is literally a rat with wings. But anyway, you go after the rat with wings, and it's the penguin, and it wasn't him. He was like, I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking. Fuck you. Like they were probably right in like all
they're
of their
like, hey,
accusations.
look at the fucking commissioner. Look at his face. He's like, hey, what are you showing me that for? I don't. Whoa, that's gross.
Yeah, he was funny. He was good. He was the Penguin. I feel like that's like Danny DeVito did a really good job, and this guy also did a really good job. Danny DeVito's was like a completely different type of Penguin though. This is like very much closer to like the Penguin that I remember seeing in like the old Scooby-Doo shows and like old Batman cartoons where this dude's like a top hat and monocle, like, yeah, see? type of fucking gangster. Which I'm gonna skip a couple to go down to Carmen Falcone, which he is normally the guy who's like super like Italian gangster dude. But this was just kind of like an old dude. This is an old man.
Yeah, he's one step away from being Italian, and I was like, all right, I get it. But I
feel like he didn't, like, every time I see, like, Falcone and Marone, they're like, hey, what the fuck is going on over here? I swear to God, I'll beat you. Like, super thick
he's like,
accent.
hey, don't be a stranger, baby, which he was talking to his daughter like that, and I was like, that's a little weird now that we know that.
Oh, yeah.
That's his daughter.
But I don't, like, I feel
Well, he didn't know it was his daughter.
Yeah, he didn't know.
No, did he not? I thought he did.
She said it at the end.
Yeah, at the end. She was like, you're my dad, or something like that. And
yeah, I guess that's right. I thought
I know what you mean, because it felt like he should have known, and then at the end when she said it, I was like, oh, I guess he doesn't. But Falcone, he did a good job, but every time I imagine Falcone, I imagine the most, like, stereotype mobster. So, like, when it was just some dude, I was just kind of underwhelmed, I guess.
I see what you mean, but I kind of like that because it kind of just made Gotham feel like anybody could be it. Like, this is just some guy. This is just
just some dude, and I do appreciate, like,
because usually, like, Batman movies are like, the Penguin can only be Danny DeVito because he's this weird monster amalgamation dude who eats fish and
like,
is ugly.
No, it could be like a dude in a fucking top hat monocle-esque fucking.
Yeah, like this little overweight dude who's
with a weird kind of pointy
full
nose.
Of himself. Yeah, kind of pointy nose, kind of full of himself.
And this dude is just like, I guess Italian. I don't know.
And the Riddler just ends up being some dude. He's like, hey, because that's something I really liked again about his little when they find his little streaming tape
Yeah.
for his viewers, he's like himself. He's just like, "Hey guys, thanks for helping me. Uh,
Hey guys.
we're about to do some crazy fucked up shit, but like, I'm just some guy, and you guys are giving me money to
I
plant
don't
bombs."
I don't like I understand why they couldn't watch the video beforehand, but I also don't because that's a video that he just posted on his social media. Like they could have just like
I think it was like a dark web thing where you needed like I guess to solve the riddle because the riddle was on the floor, like the password.
You needed the
they
password.
needed the password to
Yeah.
get into like his computer, right? Or is that the
No, to
password?
watch the video.
Yeah, so I think only people who solved the riddle got to be a part of the plan.
I was gonna say, why didn't the cops just like go on a different computer where they didn't need a password? No, I think he did good. I think it is a Carmine Falcone. It was a good a good modernization. I think.
Yeah,
Because like it's not he's not gonna be over the top fucking Italian mobster. He would just be like a
and
dude.
he's like a just one-off guy and then gets killed. But that's the thing I like is like it kind of just made everyone feel like a person because like usually in the movies Falcone's always followed by like guards and everything and he's untouchable. But here he just straight up lets Bruce Wayne walk in. He lets what he found out to be his daughter walk in. He's like he's walking around in public. Yeah, they can't get too close, but he's like, I'll talk to Bruce Wayne. He was there when I got shot, and his father saved me, and it's like a human thing that I like about the movie.
Going on off of that, Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon.
Yes,
he was first of all very very good. Second of all, there was a part in the movie where it was like him standing next to like the wannabe mayor, and like standing next to like a bunch of other people, and I was like, oh. Gotham is kind of like full of color, which I like. Gotham was, I guess, it's normally really depicted like pretty white, even though it's supposed to be like super inner city bad.
Yeah, and this is inner city, like.
Yeah, and it felt like it, because like half the cast were like not white. Not half.
Yeah, like.
But a good bit.
But like a good majority, like even like side characters in the back, like little details when you put like a bunch of like diverse people because that's what a city is. Like you're not just gonna see all white people unless you're like in a very specific neighborhood or all black people unless you're in a specific neighborhood. Gotham is like the melting pot of like that area, and
especially like Gotham's also like it is inner city, so it's like it's gonna be way more colored than white.
Like you're gonna see a lot of people there,
and then the people in charge were colored, and of course it like feels like they were like the people that wanted to make change in their community. Strong black characters, love them.
They really tried with Jamie Lawson, but she didn't get anyone's attention, and then she got shot.
Yeah, it was unfortunate, but she was still there. She was still willing to fight.
No, yeah, because she even goes up to Bruce Wayne and he's like, "Hey, with your money, like we can do a lot."
Yeah, hey, rich white guy, help us the fuck out, please.
And then he's like, "Nah, I'm good."
But yeah, I think Jeffrey Wright is probably my favorite James Gordon. I would say all of these characters have been my favorite live-action depiction of these characters.
I do like that James Gordon got like he gets a lot to do in the Dark Knight movies, and like that's when I feel like he was more into the plot and working with Batman, like full-on detective work.
What, in this movie or?
Yeah, in this movie.
Yeah. He did feel like he was working with Batman. He was protecting him too.
Yeah, he was protecting him. He was actually like able to give his own like personal input, and he's like, "Oh, what do you think this is? It could be this," and then he's actually like full on fighting with him. Like he's like, yeah, we gotta back him up, and they're like, "Why?" He's like, "Just back this guy up."
I wanted to know like how they like met and started to work together. I don't need to know. But it would be like a little nice to just be like, oh, like how did Batman like find him and then like determine that he was like a good cop that he could like really trust with everything.
Yeah, and they say like, yeah, why do you trust me? He's like, well, you're a good cop. You're not corrupt.
How did you find that out? Like, how much have you guys been like?
I stared at you for a long time and stalked you.
Yeah, I was watching you the whole time.
I was watching you undress in your closet.
you didn't put on a supervillain. You put on your cop suit. You didn't put on a supervillain cat outfit.
In that moment, I knew you were good. But yeah, Jeffrey Wright kills it, and I think he's a little bit of the comedy aspect, which I will kind of go into because I think that is most of the big cast. But he had a little bit of the comedy in the beginning, just reactionary shit, which I think is funny.
Yeah, because for one, everyone else is like looking at this dude in a bad outfit and like murder scenes, and he's like, thumb drive. This guy.
this guy's fucking hilarious. And I was like, okay, that's funny. Something about the tone and the humor in this movie I think was amazing. It felt like a live action version of the 90s animated show. And I think like that's what I mean. Like the humor reflected that because the show wasn't like laugh out loud funny or anything, but there was
But
like
it was
a
like
lot of
dry humor. Funny.
dry humor, dark humor, like just like here and there, like a little bit of a genuine reaction, like a cop who's like seen it all and then sees the thumb drive and like after like that's a riddle, like oh this guy's fucking hilarious, like of course he would say that. That's his reaction, and it was a really funny line delivery, and I think Jeffrey Wright helped with that, and the writing helps with it, and the directing helps with it.
Yeah, this is overall great movie. I did love the back and forth dialogue with him, Batman, and the Penguin, like when they're interrogating him.
Oh yeah. You see this mangled face? Get that out of my face! I don't want to see that.
Yeah, he's like, "What is this? Good cop, batshit cop?"
It was like it's funny.
Yeah, it's
everyone's
funny.
Just like kind of like a smart ass, and then even Batman's kind of a smart ass.
Oh yeah, he has like small little like, I don't want to say quips to be like get it. He's Spider-Man quipping, but like the whole thing when they're like, "Oh, you want to get that costume bloody?" He's like, "My blood or yours?" And I was like, "All right, that's pretty funny."
When he said, "You're about to catch me on assaulting 3 more," I was like, "Damn." There's something to it. I think like Batman isn't completely like devoid of like humor because his humor's like a smart ass, wise ass type of shit, and it's kind of always been. But I feel like a lot of people just like don't think that Batman like is allowed to be like funny, and it's like he's not Spider-Man, no. But if someone says some dumbass shit, like Batman's the first one to call them out on it. He's not
100%.
pulling any punches. Like it's funny, straight up calling people fucking idiots and just like threatening to beat everyone's ass at every moment of the day. But I think the tone, I couldn't tell you. It's like it's kind of gothic, kind of like
noir,
which is the tone they were going for. Do you have any overall other things about the movie before I keep ranting?
I think I kind of hit everything I wanted to talk about. Unless you have anything else.
I do actually.
Well, okay.
Now that
Well,
you said
before
it.
you go, my final thoughts before you go roll into your rant. I really enjoyed the movie. It was it's not what I expected.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't what I
In
expected.
a good way.
No, yeah.
Because I saw the trailer and they're like, oh yeah, this Batman's gonna beat ass, but then they're like, oh, this is like a mystery movie, like it's a detective story. Like you're gonna see Batman's whole detective side and him like trying to figure out this plot. Then I realized this plot really had nothing to figure out.
Yeah, which is a shame,
which is a shame. And I'm like, the fights were few and far between, but what we did get, I absolutely loved. Like it made me fear the shadows in this movie whenever he wasn't on screen because I'm just waiting for this dude to like pop up.
I think like what I started ranting about, just like the way they handled the tone, just the cinematography, the colors, the shot composition, all of it felt
the direction
just felt so much of what I like think of when I think of Batman.
Actually, that reminds me, there is this one shot that I thought looked a little weird, and it's the one when he jumps off the GCPD like skyscraper.
What was weird about it? I don't remember.
It was like that GoPro POV shot where it's his head and he's like gliding through the city.
Oh yeah, that was a little weird.
Yeah, it looked a little weird. Like it wasn't bad, but it was like it didn't match the rest of the movie, and I thought it was funny that he like ate complete shit and like
Yeah, he
just
did.
skidded. He skidded for one when he got up there.
He
He
should have
like
died first of all.
yeah, for one he got up there to the roof and he was like he got to the edge and he was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
all right."
that,
I was like,
that's
"All right, I
scary.
like that." I was like
Yeah,
that I like that. He's like he's of course you're scared to jump off a fucking roof.
it's
He
really
kind of
interesting that they made his like cape like kind of
a
like a flight
wingsuit.
suit. Yeah,
Yeah, like he zips it around him and it becomes like a wingsuit. And then a little parachute pops up to slow his descent, but it gets caught on the bottom end of a overhead train
he's
and he
fucking.
skids he smacks off the top, rolls off the fucking bus and skids down like a whole block and gets up in pain and I'm like, yeah, no, that's what would happen if
No,
Batman
you'd be
glided
fucking
around.
dead. It was interesting to see him like fly. I was like, oh, they're gonna do the thing with like this like the cape and the suit, and it was just like a dumb wingsuit. But like, of course, it's just a dumb wingsuit right now. I'm sure like a couple movies, it'll be like a whole like cape thing that he always does, where it looks kind of like a bat.
I loved it. It's everything I wanted in a Batman movie. I
It
have no
is.
real complaints.
I know I was talking to you earlier about how I was afraid that it was going to be another Dark Knight situation where it's not. It's just going to feel like an action movie more than it's going to feel like a Batman movie. But this did feel
Yeah.
like a Batman movie, which is really interesting. Now that I think about it, I feel like not a lot of Batman movies feel like Batman movies. And when I say that, I mean like where Batman's the main character or like the main person going through things. I feel like it's always like
Bruce Wayne dealing with being Batman and
it's
then
like
having
that,
to like
and then it's like more focused on like the villains too. But this one was like a lot of Robert Pattinson's like internal struggle and like how he's depicting himself, and like Batman is like in outfit most of the movie, like doing stuff as the Batman. The movie is about him.
at any time he's out of the suit, they give him another reason to just suit up again.
Yeah. Or they just like they put him in another kind of action set piece too. Like the movie was about him, which is I think a little unique because normally it's like, oh, it's about the villains who are growing and changing back here, and it's cool when it's about the villains. But this one was about him and his relationships and finding out about his like family, and then the Riddler at the end is like, here's why I'm the Riddler, and that was fine. I didn't need the whole movie to give me a super sympathetic story for the Riddler. I just needed him to give me
Oh,
fucking riddles while Batman figures out his own shit, which is
yeah, that's another thing with like the Nolan movies kind of do that where they're like, here's a little sympathy toward the villains because they're kind of messed up. And they did that a little bit with the Riddler, but then they're also just like he's insane. Like
no, he's crazy.
he's just crazy. Because like with Bane and the Dark Knight Rises, they're like, yeah, he was protecting Rish's daughter, and that's why he's has this mask and his he can't feel pain unless it's broken. And
Yeah,
here they're like, I was an orphan, and so was Bruce Wayne. And but was he really an orphan? Did he have to like starve and do this stuff?
yeah, he's not an orphan the way he's gatekeeping orphans.
Yeah.
You're rich, so you're not an orphan. Which is like that's not how that works. But yeah, I understand what you mean. No, yeah, I think they nailed it. Something I wanted to talk about again was I guess the action, depiction of violence. The last things I have on my list are the Batarang, which I thought was really cool. I feel like definitely in the next movie he's gonna pull that shit out, and it's gonna start being Batarangs. And I want to see Batman using more gadgets. In this movie, he was gadget focused, but like they were really primitive. So I can't wait for him to like nail his grappling gun and use that like a badass and like
Yeah,
throw
because
out
his
stun
grappling,
shit.
I did like that his grappling gun was like integrated in his suit
Yeah.
because it kind of like pops out and then he fires it and then he can zip up.
And like the cartoons or like the video games, that shit's like just coming out of his ass. You're like, where the fuck did he get that?
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, what if the things on his gauntlet are to reload his grapple shot.
Hey, maybe they are. That would make sense.
But I don't know. I'm looking at it and it looks weird, but
Yeah, me too. Um, what was I saying? What was I saying?
Anyway, good night, folks.
yep, Mike, you contributed so much. Thanks for being here.
I
Appreciate your
did contribute a
commentary.
lot. And now all these twos are typing in my chat in the Discord because I'm holding in two to push to talk. So bye. Night.
Bye. Welcome. Thanks for listening to our TED Talk.
Woo!
Uh, no, Batman was really. Oh, so the action. So I heard two things going into this movie. I heard that there wasn't a lot of action, and that's okay. And then I heard that there was a lot of action. And
What did you think?
I can completely understand both sides. This is something I was thinking about like a lot because there isn't a lot of action set pieces. There's like the car chase scene and like the end of the movie, and like those are like the big action set pieces. But
And then
also
small fights in between.
there's just like a bunch of them. And like the movie doesn't go 20 minutes without Batman having just punched somebody. Like he is always in fights, but they're always really quick, and they should be. The first scene depicted him fighting like 8 goons, and it was like kind of like a long fight scene. But then any other time after that where he fought a goon, he kind of just punched them out in like one hit. Like everyone went down in one hit, which is why I think people were saying there wasn't a lot of action. Like there was, but
I mean, that's you. Fights usually last like real life fights will last 3 minutes at most.
yeah, which I get. Like this dude in like heavy armor is coming out and just like punching dudes out of nowhere. Like of course they would get knocked out. And they're just like normal dudes. They're not like League of Assassins. They're not.
No, these are just some goons, guys with guns, some incel
Yeah. And
YouTube watchers.
people like they're not trained or anything. So of course
No.
like any altercation with them ends really fast cuz Batman is trained, which I appreciated. Like there isn't like a long fight scene really per se where he's like doing crazy kung fu or anything.
And going toe to toe with someone else who's like equal to him. No, he's
No,
like
he's
taking dudes out.
he's just like boxing people. He's running through the city, and if someone gets in his way, he throws out a punch, and then they're down, and then he keeps going. Which is what I imagine Batman would be like, fighting like a regular ass goon. Which is why the first scene stands out, because it was just a bunch of regular goons, but they kept getting hit and then getting back up to keep fighting.
And there was a point where they like kind of stopped. They got up and started running away because they're like, I don't want to get hit again.
Yeah, and it doesn't really make sense when later he fights a bunch of people and knocks them out in one hit. Like, why were those random goons on the train able to, like, fight back? Like, it felt like that fight scene in particular did feel like straight out of an Arkham game.
Yeah, I think he
kept
might have
knocking
been
him down.
pulling his punches.
What, because they were, like, kids?
Yeah, they're like just dudes bothering. Like they weren't like. It's not like they were littering and this man does like a 20-piece combo to like murder them.
No.
No, they were just like, we're gonna like.
Well, he did that
punch
to the
this
first guy.
Well, yeah, the first guy because he came up with like, what was it, like a machete or something, or like a bat?
Yeah.
Like he had a deadly weapon, so he's like equal force. I'm going to break your arm and like discombobulate.
But then that guy kept getting back up. So I was like, oh, this is how the fights in this movie are going to be. It's a bunch of goons who keep getting back up. But no. He walks
No,
through
no.
and then just like beats the shit. Like, especially at the end, I was like, okay, well, these guys might be like trained. But he took all of them out in like one hit. Like, there was 20 of them.
Yeah, no, the bigger issue is that there were guns, and there were a lot of
and there was
guns.
a lot of them. But he took them out really fast. So, like, the action, like, there was a lot of it. It's just really quick, and I don't mind that. Like, if Batman goes in and just punches someone out immediately, like, that feels pretty Batman. So I'll accept that. And if that happens every 20 minutes, like it did, or like it felt like it did, I think it's
I'm
pretty
down
solid.
for that. Yeah.
And again, we talked about the violence being PG-13, which I think helps it. There's something to a lack of knowing and seeing that I think intensifies it rather than showing it.
And again, yeah, like both sides, like having it rated R has its downfalls, and then
Yeah, having it rated PG-13. I couldn't determine if they used their fuck at all.
I think it was the beginning, like with Gordon, like this fucking guy. If I remember right, I think he was the first and only one to throw out a fuck.
I'll have to look into that.
After,
The
it sounds
editor
like we
can
need
confirm
to.
it later.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Guess I gotta go rewatch Batman. Oh no.
Oh no! But I also wanted to talk about the action. Obviously, the first fight, there was that fight with the goons in the hallway with the flaring guns.
Yeah.
That was just really cool. Like it's, I want to know what is that like all CG? Was that like a practical fight with like practical like light flashes? I want to know if there was like an entire choreographed fight that like we really couldn't see because it was dark. You know?
I I feel like there were cuts. So my thought was he would do a move that would be shown within the flash and they would cut within the dark and then just like have him do another move so it seems like it's a seamless fight.
You think so?
That's my thought because I don't see the point in choreographing a fight in the dark that won't be seen. I feel like just having short beats of a fight within the light that will be used makes more sense.
No, it does make more sense. But also, if you choreograph like a whole fight and you flash the lights at the right time, all of the choreography would still like hold. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like look seamless and like
I don't. They didn't do that, so I'm leaning towards what you're saying. But I thought it would be really cool. I was expecting like a Daredevil esque like hallway fight with some
yeah,
like
but
flashing lights, but I didn't really get that.
no, this movie's too dark for that. Literally, like
Too
it's
dark.
all night.
The car scene, fucking insane. I don't
I
normally like car chases at all in movies. I think they're always really boring.
but that was cool.
No, it was cool. As soon as they were like going into traffic,
Yeah,
and they were
on
in traffic
opposite
for a
traffic.
while. Yeah, like on oncoming traffic, and they were just driving. Like, imagine coming home from your day of work, Will, and you see
And
somebody driving down the street like the wrong way, and you're like, oh fuck, and then you just see like a Batmobile tank looking shit with a fucking jet engine behind it, vroom, like right past you.
yeah, oh, and for one, I got goosebumps when the car started up
Oh yeah.
and you just hear it in the dark and then you see the blue light fade in and then the roar of the engine and I'm like, "Oh, that's so
Even wasn't
cool."
Penguin in the moment just like
He
fuck,
was standing
fuck,
there.
fuck.
He was just like, get
Shit.
the money. I got to go." And he drove off without the money.
Yeah, and then Catwoman stole the money.
And the dude was like, "Yo, I didn't get in."
That was funny. He did.
But yeah,
He
no,
left his goon behind.
another thing, like I like again, this is the Penguin because he's like shitting himself throughout the thing, and then when
I
he
would
thinks he
be.
got yeah, he's shitting himself, and then when the whole like gasoline truck explodes, he's like, "Ah, I got you, yeah, I got you."
And then like the most like shit pants thing happens. We see Batman fly through the flames and land behind
Yeah.
him, and it's just like, oh no.
His car, I thought something was wrong with the audio when he started spinning because I didn't hear crashing. And then he hit the ground and I was like, he was in the air for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Like he caught some hard airtime and then
And that was a
crashed.
convenient, like, the way the cars, like, happened to, like, mangle together to form a ramp for him.
Yeah,
That was just coincidence. But damn,
but
it looks so cool.
and while we're here, can we talk about all the people that probably died
That's what I'm
in
saying.
that
Like, you were
crash?
just on your way to work, and then all of a sudden, the oil tanker next to you just fucking starts spinning around, and you see some dude in a shitty ass car drive off, and then everything blows up around you. What? There was something to, like, Ben Affleck clearly throwing someone else's car into an oil tanker.
Yeah. Or him like ramming his car into the back of an open truck where someone's head is clearly in the way of his
Yeah.
like tire.
That one felt like Batman kills. This one did feel like, oh,
This was an accident, but
like,
I gotta
yeah,
keep moving forward.
I gotta catch that guy more than I have to really worry about saving these people.
Yeah, it's funny because during that scene, I commute an hour to work, So like from 5, and if I hit traffic, I'll probably get there around 6:30. Our showing was at 7, so I was like racing home, and I felt like the penguin going in opposite traffic when he got stuck, and he was like screaming at the guy to move. I felt
Oh
like that
yeah.
was me racing home. I was
Move!
like, "Come on, what?"
That was a really real moment, especially when they started it and like the roads were empty. I was like, oh okay, are the roads gonna be just empty again, kind of like they were in the Dark Knight?
Like there was no real like traffic going on.
But like in this one, the penguin very clearly hit real traffic and was like, fuck. But like you could see Batman like inching towards him behind him. He's like, come on. And he just like hit the gas and just like rammed into another dude's car. And I was like, yeah, of course he would do that. Everything made sense. I feel like everyone's choices in the movie made sense. So then that whole fucking thing happened, and then the cool ass shot of him walking towards him while the camera's upside down. And like now I know why the camera's upside down and the penguin's just like freaking out in the car.
He's like, I thought that was a cool shot, and I had a little laugh when Batman bent over and looked at him, and I was like, all right, that's a little bit funny because he's just like,
oh yeah, that
walking
was
toward him.
really goofy.
I thought he was gonna pull him out. No, he like bends down and just stares at him, and then they cut to the interrogation.
It's not even like
what?
a cool angle that he bent down at or anything.
No, he's like on his knees, has his hand on the floor, and looking at him. I'm like, okay.
It's like, are you okay, buddy? How you doing?
Are you alive?
What's going on? That was one of those things where, like, in the animated show, I could see how they would do that and make it look really intimidating. Well, like, they would probably put, like, an eye squint in, like, a really hard music cue.
Yeah.
But, like, that doesn't, like, translate super well in live action, because he just kind of looked really doofy, just staring at him.
Yeah, he's just, like, wide-eyed, like, hello.
Which, yeah, Batman, another reason I think it works is because like the whites of Batman's eyes are like always the focus of his mask. So the fact that like Robert Pattinson was kind of like wide-eyed the whole time, one, because I think he was recording things, and two, because I think he's just weird.
Yeah, no, definitely I think that is it, and I like that.
Yeah.
And his contacts made it look like his eyes were white too. It's just
Yeah, the whites of his eyes really stood out, I guess, in like a lot of shots, and that's like really cool because that's the whites of his eyes are really cool.
I was very confused in the beginning when he was taking off the contacts. I'm like, ew, what is he doing? That's gross.
Yeah, ew, Batman wears glasses? Ew. My Batman has perfect eyesight. Thank you very much.
20/20 vision.
Yeah, I think.
What was the next
and
one?
the last, I guess, really big action scene was like just the last part of the movie.
Well, no, there was also the Falcone one where he's like walking through the hallway, getting shot at, and bullets are bouncing out. Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
after
he was like
the
a little
Scarface.
too bulletproof. I know if I was playing Batman Arkham City, I would have been dead.
Yeah, no, this man had like looking at his suit, there's like barely any points of like where he isn't armored up.
Yeah, which is a little weird. I really initially thought it was leather, but he is just
Like his
wearing,
boots are leather,
his cape is leather.
his cape's leather, which I feel like that'd be a little counterintuitive. It's all, I mean, considering it becomes a wingsuit now knowing it becomes the wingsuit, that makes sense.
I really do love the outfit, and I think what I didn't initially like the collar part of the cape. I know Batman sometimes does have a collar, but I thought it looked weird.
I love the collar.
But I grew to love it, especially because then it made his cowl not look like he could turn his head in the suit.
Yeah, he didn't have to like rotate his entire body just to look left.
Yeah, he could turn his head in the suit because the cowl isn't connected to the cape, which isn't connected to the rest of the suit. Like, it's a separate piece, which makes sense. Of course, and then of course he would like pop it up like a collar. I wonder if he's gonna go away from the collar and they're gonna change the design, or if they're gonna keep that. Batman always updates his suit. I also saw there was like a very, very, very small hint of like yellow at the bottom of his bat symbol.
Really?
Yeah, you could only really see it in some shots. Like the light hits it right, but like there's like some yellow there, and you go, oh
Yeah.
shit.
Well, there's the same thing with the Riddler. Like his suit is green if you look at the set photos, but it looks dark, like black in the movie, and it's only in certain lightings you can see his whole suit is green. It's like an
Oh,
olive
yeah.
green.
I see what you're saying. I'm looking at it now. It is just totally green. It is a weird ass suit. I love the comments that were like telling him where to get the mask and like what it is and oh, just get an assault rifle. This would be good. Yeah, just get one of those gas masks. I forget what type of mask it is. It looks
Yeah.
fucking terrifying though. And they taped his glasses onto the to the outside of
Yeah.
it. What a
It's
fucking
like
nerd.
yeah, well, that's the thing. That's the biggest issue for anyone, especially wanting to cosplay who has like shit eyesight. You either have to get contacts or you have to play someone who wears glasses.
Now that everyone can play the Riddler because he just
Yeah.
tapes his glasses onto the outside of his fucking weird ass mask.
Literally, at first I thought they were goggles, but it's like, no, those are just his glasses.
Which for a little bit, I was really hoping that the Riddler was just a woman. I don't know why. Those glasses
Big
kind of
plot
looked really
twist.
feminine.
No, he's just a big nerd.
I was like, oh, I don't. Sexist of me, I guess. But I thought those glasses just looked really. I was like, I've never seen a dude wear those types of glasses. Maybe this Riddler's a woman. And then I saw like a part of his face, and then I thought he was a woman. So.
I mean, he does have a very feminine face.
I was
Very
like, nah,
round.
he's a woman. Like he has like a voice modulator on, and I was like, what if the twist was that the Riddler was a woman? Like he could. It's
Could have
just the
been.
Riddler. It's not like it doesn't have to be a dude. I thought there was gonna be another plot twist with all the Riddlers at the end, like they're all gonna become the Riddler, and like the Riddler is gonna be like a recurring villain, but only because it's all of his incel followers who try to be like him.
But nope, the plot twist is that Batman needs to talk to people and be a hero.
He does.
That's the plot twist.
So my overall thoughts, I guess, to end this whole thing, my whole spiel, I think the movie was great. It was easily my favorite Batman movie within like the first 20 minutes. My favorite beforehand was the one with Michael Keaton, the first one. I really liked that movie. And
Especially when he rips his rubber mask off.
yeah, his doofy looking but
And
his mask is
turn.
really cool too.
Yeah, like his suit's cool, but man, it was weird whenever he wanted to turn. He turned his whole body.
His whole body.
It's funny, but yes.
I grew up watching the 90s show, so then when I went back to like watch the movie from 89, I think I completely understood where the 90s show got their aesthetic. And so I really liked that movie, and I thought it was a really good depiction of Batman. And I didn't think the same for the Dark Knight movies. I think they're really, really good. I think they're
Those
a
are
weird
good
depiction.
Batman movie.
I think they're not weird, a weird depiction of Batman. But that's just my opinion. But this movie like met solid in the middle. It like nailed like the Bruce Timm style of Batman while also like making a really good action mystery movie, I guess.
Yeah, like I think what was it? I think someone turned to me. It was either Aiden or Mike said that might have been Jared said that like who designed the Wayne Manor, Tim Burton, because it was really gothic.
It's so gothic that when he walked in the first time, I was like, holy shit, this is the most convoluted looking fucking place.
Yeah, and
It
I was
looks
like,
like
yeah,
it was
this
made in
does
like the
give me like
1700s.
it does give me like Tim Burton vibes of like gothic, like what the original the 89 Batman was.
Yeah, and even like
And then he had a whole locked up room with chains on it. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's emo.
he is emo. Even looking at like the screenshots that I'm looking at of the movie right now, like a lot of the set pieces are just like gothic looking. Gotham looks like an old city, which is cool.
Yeah, but like they plastered the screens on top of the buildings, which I loved. It was like central, like you remember the one, like there's a few shots of him like driving by and there are like advertisements plastered over the buildings.
Were there? I didn't notice that.
Yeah, no, there were like huge screens plastered over the old buildings. It was like they're trying to modernize, but like
They don't want to like tear down the buildings and architecture.
yeah, it's
That's
like an
really
old
interesting.
city with like they're trying to cover up the dirt.
That's the thing. I think they really did Gotham really well in this movie. I feel like Gotham is as big a part in the movie as the rest of it, which I guess is how Batman should normally work. I think The Dark Knight did that one super fucking awesome. But this movie it felt like Gotham was like a real place with like the old architecture that's trying to be modern, the weird way the city's set up where it kind of looks like the 1940s and 2020 at the same time.
Yeah, like they didn't really give a time for this. It was like, oh,
No, they didn't. And
people have like old tech, and then they also have cell phones, and it was weird.
yeah, it
But I
was
loved
weird.
it.
But I
It was
know
yeah,
it
it
made
worked. No, it was
sense.
weird in a good. When I say it's weird, it's like weird in a good way. It's like it has an identity to it.
It feels like Gotham.
Yeah,
If I think about Gotham, I think about this place that's like with blimps and shit and like giant fucking like
yeah,
who
like
has those things?
like
Well, the bat signal. What is that thing called?
yeah, like the oh, I think we're both stupid for not knowing
What is the
what the
name
bat.
of that giant light?
Uh,
Because I don't think anywhere uses. Is this like a spotlight that they just aim?
yeah, it's like a spotlight. Spotlight. Jesus,
I'm thinking about like, but like in the show, obviously, there's like blimps with spotlights all over the place, and like it's kind of
yeah, they have like they're like all the like in the cartoons. It's just like they're all mobsters, and they have the mobster slang, and everything's like old.
everything is like grimy and old, yeah, but it's
But then
also
you have
modern.
yeah, and then you have like Batman who has like this high tech computer and like these gadgets. It's like he's ahead of the time, and the city's trying to be, but it's still stuck in its age.
And they can't afford to be. So I'm very interested to see what they're gonna do with this moving forward. Again, immediately it was my favorite Batman movie. At some point in the movie, I was like, no, this is like a 10 out of 10, just really entertaining movie. I would. It's one of those movies that if it was ever on, it would have my like full attention again. And I think that's how I like review movies. Like, how much would I really want to rewatch this? And something like Into the Spider Verse, if that's on, my full attention immediately. And I think that could be said about this movie. I will
Right.
always just like pay attention to it, and like I can't wait for more rewatches for me to like see other small details that the director put in, because I know Matt Reeves was pretty passionate about it. And
Oh
so
yeah,
it's like
he
Robert
was.
Pattinson, he's a big fucking nerd. That
So
is
that is our hour and 54 minutes of
you're gonna
thoughts.
cut that down, right?
Maybe
All right, that's what I like to hear.
we're definitely gonna see what's gonna happen because this is the first of the thing that we definitely named before we did it.
Yeah, I can't believe we're doing the first episode of
The Hodge Pod.
today. I'm
Yeah,
glad you guys
thank
watched this first episode of the show.
yeah, definitely stood the entire time, no matter what length.
Catch us again when another cool movie comes out. We'll talk about
Uh,
it.
I feel like what is coming out? Bullet Train looked interesting. That's coming out in July.
You do some anime movies. Jujutsu
Doc
Kaisen.
yeah, Doctor Strange.
Oh yeah, Doctor Strange. We'll be back here for Doctor Strange.
Okay, that's guaranteed. So, yeah.
See you guys next time.
Bye.
Goodbye.